Every time you press a handle to flush a toilet, you're initiating a sequence that relies on one of the most expensive public works systems on Earth. But because the pipes run underground, we rarely think about the massive infrastructure required to make human waste disappear. For decades, municipal wastewater treatment plants have operated under a single, very narrow directive: get rid of the mess. They aren't designed to be efficient, and they certainly aren't designed to generate revenue. They are built purely to destroy waste, acting as massive financial drains on local governments. If you look at the balance sheet for a traditional treatment facility, it bleeds cash. The core process of treating sewage requires heavy pumping, intense aeration, and constant chemical intervention. The sheer amount of electricity needed to run these legacy systems often makes the treatment plant a city's single largest consumer of power. And at the end of all that intensive processing, what is the city left with? Sludge, a wet, heavy organic byproduct. Even a moderately sized town generates tens of thousands of tons of this material every single year. So under this linear, old-school model, taxpayers foot a massive electricity bill just to separate organic material from water, only to throw that organic material straight into the garbage. This cost breakdown for a standard treatment facility highlights the disposal fees. Getting rid of wet sludge carries strict financial penalties, around €90 per ton. Panning down to the total, operating expenses for dumping this sludge easily eclipse €250,000 annually. The environmental ledger looks just as bad. Fleets of heavy diesel trucks haul this sludge across the country to dump it in landfills or fields. It generates heavy transport emissions and completely wastes the agricultural potential locked inside all that discarded organic matter. Reversing this escalating financial crisis requires a total structural pivot in how we value municipal waste. The alternative to the traditional disposal model is transitioning the facility into a resource recovery plant. Instead of viewing municipal sludge as a biological hazard that requires expensive removal, this incredible circular approach treats the entire wastewater stream as an unexploited asset class, a raw material waiting to be mined. Making this pivot requires serious upfront investment. In this breakdown, dewatering extraction equipment costs anywhere from €200,000 to over €330,000. But this steep initial price tag buys long-term efficiency. Panning down to energy costs, high-efficiency equipment immediately slashes the daily electricity required. The real return on investment starts with anaerobic digestion. Inside massive oxygen-free tanks, bacteria break down the sludge, releasing a continuous stream of raw biogas. Capturing this biogas allows the plant to run on its own thermal energy and potentially export a surplus to local district heating networks. By generating power directly from the waste it processes, the plant neutralizes its biggest operating expense. Before it even sells a single physical product, the facility is saving the city money. After the gas is extracted, the remaining liquid still holds immense value. Wastewater is rich in dissolved minerals, primarily nitrogen and phosphorus. By adjusting the chemical balance, engineers can precipitate these minerals out of the water, recovering pure phosphorus as a crystal called struvite. Phosphorus is a finite, globally traded commodity essential for growing crops. Capturing this struvite turns a local municipal headache into a premium, slow-release fertilizer that agricultural sectors are absolutely desperate to buy. What little organic material remains after digestion and mineral extraction is then stabilized and dried into high-quality biosolids or heated into biochar. This final extraction creates another physical product that safely returns vital carbon back to depleted soils. However, retrofitting an entire region's infrastructure to do this is heavily restricted by local economics. In Ireland, for instance, domestic consumers do not pay direct water fees. Without that dedicated revenue stream, national water utilities face severe budget shortages, making it incredibly difficult to fund these multi-million-dollar plant upgrades. Geography also dictates the rollout. In remote, dispersed communities like the Faroe Islands, wastewater is still largely handled by aging, scattered septic systems. You can't centralize resource extraction when the raw material is spread out across hundreds of decaying, disconnected, and severely rusted underground pipes. The chemical engineering behind turning sewage into energy and fertilizer works everywhere, but realizing the financial windfall depends entirely on whether a municipality has the centralized infrastructure and the capital to actually build the mine. When a city can overcome those funding hurdles, the financial transformation is drastic. Our original ledger flips into the green. The massive OpEx drain for waste disposal shrinks almost to zero, replaced by entirely new revenue columns for biogas energy and commercial fertilizer. Those punishing fees of €90 per ton for hauling away wet sludge simply vanish because the heavy, waterlogged waste has been completely broken down and repurposed on site. Instead of a constant drain on taxpayer money, utilities become a stabilizing force for municipal budgets, actively generating cash by selling essential commodities back to the local market. But the most important returns don't show up on a financial audit. By aggressively recovering nitrogen and phosphorus before the water is discharged, these plants stop excess nutrients from triggering algae blooms and dead zones, actively protecting pristine coastal ecosystems from eutrophication. The total return on investment effectively safeguards regional ecology, ensuring that long-term survival is directly built into the municipal budget. This creates a powerful dual benefit for the climate. Local governments radically reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by self-generating clean energy, while simultaneously taking fleets of diesel-burning sledge trucks off the highways. It also builds resilient local economies, generating specialized green tech jobs to operate the recovery systems and securing a sustainable domestic supply of fertilizer for regional farmers. We don't have to wait for a breakthrough to make this happen. The digesters, the centrifuges, and the chemical recovery systems are all proven technologies, operating right now in advanced facilities around the world. Efficiently managing wastewater as a high-value, infinitely renewable asset is simply the only way to sustain a modern, circular city.